A man who harnesses his energy through semen retention carries a presence that cannot be ignored. His posture is firm, his gaze unwavering, his movements deliberate. Without speaking a word, he shifts the energy in the room. Other men sense it, some admire it, others resent it, but none can ignore it. This unshakable presence isn't just confidence, it is the byproduct of discipline, self-control, and the refinement of raw masculine energy. In a world where most men are drained, chasing fleeting pleasure, the man who retains stands apart, radiating a power they cannot explain but instinctively recognize. This contrast is unsettling to those who have never known true self-mastery. Retention activates the primal faculties responsible for dominance, drive, and control over one's destiny. It clears mental fog, restores decisiveness, and amplifies the masculine vibration that commands respect. Men who lack this internal force feel it viscerally when standing in the presence of someone who has cultivated it. Their subconscious registers the gap, the stark difference between raw, contained power and scattered, depleted energy. This realization triggers discomfort, sometimes manifesting as hostility, envy, or passive aggression. But the retained man does not react. He moves with clarity, unaffected by insecurity, embodying the highest form of masculine presence. His very existence serves as a reminder of what is possible and what others have failed to claim within themselves. Section 1. Silent Hierarchy Shift. A man practicing semen retention walks into a room, and something shifts. He hasn't spoken. He hasn't tried to assert himself. Yet other men sense something different, something unspoken yet undeniable. This shift happens because retention alters a man's physiology at the deepest level. His testosterone levels remain high and balanced, influencing subtle but powerful micro-expressions. His gaze is unwavering, not in an aggressive manner, but in a way that signals certainty. His posture is effortless, yet commanding. His movements are controlled, devoid of nervous fidgeting. These signals may seem minor, but they have a profound impact on how other men instinctively rank him in the unspoken hierarchy of masculinity. A retained man doesn't need to force respect. His very presence demands it. This recalibration isn't just social, it's biological. Retention changes a man's pheromonal output, sending out subconscious signals of dominance, strength, and self-mastery. Other men pick up on this, even if they don't understand why. It's an ancient mechanism embedded in the male psyche, a response designed for survival. Throughout history, men who conserved their energy and mastered their impulses led tribes, conquered lands, and built empires. Meanwhile, those who lacked discipline followed. Today, this biological programming still exists, and retention reactivates it. The retained man triggers a competitive response in others, not through words or direct confrontation, but through sheer presence. Some will challenge him, sensing a threat to their perceived status. Others will naturally fall into a subordinate role, deferring to his unshakable confidence. The reason this shift is so impactful is that it extends beyond individual interactions. It expands into the energetic territory a man occupies. A retained man doesn't shrink himself to accommodate others. His energy is potent, his presence undeniable. He naturally takes up more space, not just physically, but psychologically. Men who lack this same level of internal power feel it on an instinctual level. They may try to compensate by speaking louder, dominating conversations, or attempting to exert authority through forced bravado. But these are surface-level tactics, and against true masculine energy, they crumble. Those who recognize it with respect will align with it, seeing the retained man as someone to learn from. But those who feel diminished by it will react with resistance, sensing the presence of something they cannot match. Section 2. Thought Precision. A man on semen retention moves differently, not just physically, but mentally. He does not seek approval, nor does he crave validation from the outside world. This quiet self-sufficiency disrupts those who are unknowingly addicted to instant gratification. In a society where people chase dopamine spikes from social media likes, shallow compliments, and meaningless distractions, the retained man stands apart. He does not need these artificial boosts. His confidence is not built on the shifting sands of external validation. It is forged in self-control, discipline, and mastery over his own impulses. Others sense this contrast, even if they don't understand it. The man who relies on external sources of self-worth will feel inferior next to someone who generates his own confidence from within. This inner strength extends into stress resilience. A retained man does not break under pressure. When situations escalate, when emotions run high, he remains composed. He is not thrown off balance by rejection, insults, or chaotic environments. His nervous system is not weakened by constant dopamine depletion, meaning he can maintain mental clarity and emotional control in moments that make others reactive or insecure. This creates an unconscious power dynamic. In any interaction, the most unshaken individual holds the highest ground. Those who lack this internal stability often sense their own emotional fragility in comparison. They may not admit it, but standing next to a man with unbreakable composure highlights the instability within themselves. Beyond emotional control, retention sharpens the very way a man thinks. His brain operates with increased neural efficiency, firing signals faster and processing information with greater precision. He is not scattered or distracted. He does not forget his words mid-sentence. He sees through illusions, reads between the lines, and perceives underlying patterns with ease. This type of clarity naturally sets him apart. Others who experience mental fog, sluggish thinking, or indecisiveness sense the difference. They may not consciously recognize the cause, but they will feel it. The retained man does not stumble through thoughts. He speaks with purpose. His words cut through confusion. His insights seem sharper. This intellectual presence alone can make those who have numbed their minds through indulgence feel outmatched before a word is even spoken. Section 3. Natural leadership. There is an unspoken power in the presence of a man who has mastered himself. He doesn't demand respect, he commands it. When he walks into a room, there is a shift, a subtle but undeniable redistribution of attention. Conversations slow. Eyes flicker toward him. People adjust their body language without realizing it. This is not arrogance, nor is it intimidation. It is the silent magnetism of natural leadership, and it is amplified through semen retention. A man who has control over his most primal impulses stands apart from the rest. He does not need to prove his worth with loud words or desperate gestures. His very presence asserts itself, forcing those around him to instinctively choose between two reactions: deference or challenge. In any social setting, dominance hierarchies form within moments. They are not established through titles or words, but through energy, body language, and the subtle cues that shape human interaction. A retained man effortlessly rises within these unspoken rankings. His controlled movements, steady gaze, and unshaken confidence signal authority. Even those who do not consciously understand what makes him different will feel it. Some will naturally gravitate toward his presence, looking to him for direction, subtly mirroring his behavior or deferring to his judgment. Others, sensing their own diminishing influence, may react in the opposite way, challenging his presence, testing his composure, or attempting to undermine his leadership. But those who attempt to break a man grounded in retention only expose their own insecurity. This magnetic pull is not about force, it is about certainty. Retention sharpens a man's instincts, making his decisions more calculated, his words more deliberate, and his energy more potent. People feel safer following a man who appears to have control, not only over external situations, but over himself. The reason weak men struggle to hold leadership positions is that they are not grounded. Their nervous energy, lack of discipline, and constant need for reassurance signal instability. Those who lack self-control cannot be trusted with the control of others. A retained man, on the other hand, exudes reliability. He does not seek approval before taking action. He moves with the quiet confidence of someone who knows where he is going, and people respect that. Even in groups where he has no official authority, a retained man will often find himself subtly leading. In conversations, his words carry weight. His presence naturally becomes a point of reference. He does not need to dominate discussions. His silence is often more powerful than another man's noise. When he does speak, he speaks with conviction. He does not ramble, over-explain, or seek validation. He states what needs to be said, and those listening feel the certainty behind his words. This type of communication stands in stark contrast to the insecure speech patterns of those who constantly seek social approval. Over time, the difference compounds. The retained man becomes the one people turn to when clarity is needed, when pressure is high, when leadership is required. Yet with this rise in social influence comes inevitable resistance. Those who have not cultivated their own discipline may feel threatened in his presence. Some may admire his control and seek to learn from it. Others, however, will attempt to tear it down. Weak men instinctively resent those who expose their shortcomings. The retained man does not even need to acknowledge them. His very existence is a reminder of their lack of self-mastery. They may mock, belittle, or try to discredit him, but their efforts are transparent. Their hostility reveals the depth of their own insecurity. A man truly confident in himself does not waste time trying to dismantle another's strength. Despite this resistance, the retained man remains unaffected. He does not need to defend himself against petty challenges. He understands that true leadership is not about forcing others into submission, but about holding a standard so high that others either rise to meet it or remove themselves from his presence. He does not lower his frequency to accommodate the discomfort of others. Instead, he forces them to make a choice, elevate themselves or fall away. Those who choose to stay will unconsciously adapt to his level of self-discipline, drawn to the stability and certainty he provides. Without saying a word, he reshapes the energy around him. This is why retention is feared by those who wish to keep men weak. A man in full control of his energy cannot be manipulated, cannot be broken, and cannot be ignored. He becomes a force, one that others feel before they even understand it. His mere presence is a disruption to the status quo. He represents a rare and dangerous archetype, a man who leads not by force, but by his very nature. And in a world that thrives on distraction and dependency, such a man is both admired and feared.